Hey everybody, this is Grace, and I just got finished watching yet another one of these shows. It's not recently I mentioned that I watched a show about somebody counseling, and she's actually thought of as the highest paying counselor or therapist. Was it in the world? I don't know. I don't want to misquote what I saw, but I'm not talking about somebody like that. I'm not talking about people who are actual counselors, therapists, whatever it is. They have the qualification wherever they live. They have the qualifications to meet the standard by the government. But the government says they can be a counselor. Not those. I'm talking about the people who believe. Well, here's the thing. Let me stop here for a moment. This has always been a pet peeve of mine, but where I've seen these kinds of people where they think that they're charlatans, was what they are. But I've seen it in person, not very often. No, I'm trying to figure out how many people have I seen who think that just because they think it, that they are at the level of a counselor and they can counsel people. I've mentioned, I don't know how many times before, one that I knew, but it was like, no, you're not. And it was so difficult because she really thought she had the qualifications, because she thought so. And, but how many others have I seen? But mainly where I ever saw it was over the past 10, 11 years. I saw it, started seeing them about 10, 11 years ago when I started making videos, okay? And it was, almost 11 years. And I saw these people and I'm like, no, you're not. You're getting everything wrong. I had been a career student, taught at college and university, and I could grade your papers. It's depending, but still. And I'm like, whoa, who misinformed you? Where did you hear that? And then I found out they weren't what they were saying that they were. And it became a pet peeve. But here's the thing. The change now is I see it on TV too. I really don't know how I've never been much on watching TV shows since ever until recently. So I watched them when I was younger, but I just wasn't all that into it. But recently, probably since 2020, probably since around there, it's been building up that I've watched more and more. But I see these people that seem to think, I can't tell you what they really think, but they seem to think that because they have, like I said, I don't know what you call it. Do you call them TV now, or do you call them cable TV shows, or can't all of them have their own apps? And once it becomes an app, do you see it? Just because, do they still call it cable TV? Seriously. Is that what you call it? Do you have a cable TV provider? I don't know. So much changes so quickly, you would not believe. I grew up and there were only 3 channels, ABC, CBS, and NBC. That was it. That was it. And we had black and white TV, so the TV wasn't black and white. The video was black and white. So, we had color also, but I remember having a black and white TV. Yeah. Anyway, but these days I see them on what I watch on TV that is not something on the internet. Okay. So cable, if you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. And I'm watching it and I'm saying, does this person really think that they have a TV show? I'm going to call them TV, okay? They have a TV show on a certain whatever topic. It has to do with the mind. It could be relationships. It could be whatever. It has to do with something, whatever it is. Okay, I'm just going to say whatever. But they think, mental. They think because they have the show that therefore that makes them at that same level? Is that what they're thinking? And if they have a specialist, and the specialist has given them themselves some kind of name, they're not necessarily. I think I've seen one that said they're a coach, a life coach. One talking on TV. I've seen plenty on the internet that call themselves life coaches. Some of them are downright scary. Most of them that I've seen, yeah. Anyway, but I'm questioning this, and I'm saying all this not just to talk about my pet peeve, but what I've seen also recently, and this is important. Okay, now some people would say if they actually believe that, and they go about practicing or whatever they think that they're doing, they're charlatans. Okay, some would say that. I'm not saying that everybody would. Some don't. Some people just don't understand. They don't know that you have to be qualified. You have to be credentialed. You have to have a license or certification or whatever it is wherever you live. That you must have that. Because some people don't know that. Really. But anyway, what I've seen lately is that there are people who are pointing that out. Seriously. And for the people that are on TV shows, now I'm not going to say that they're talk show hosts, although that could be the case. Although it could be a talk show host. It could be people who, like I said, it's not really a talk show. They're not sitting there and having guests and stuff like that. They're just talking about, what they think is it doesn't have to be a romance or, all these. They have so many shows these days about people wanting to get married or about to get married, or then their family or friends or somebody finds them somebody to marry. So many different types of shows like that. People who are about to break up if they don't get married. Whatever it is, there's a lot there, and some of the people will act like they are. Where are your credentials? They are something. Where are your credentials? Why do you say it? Are you credentialed to say that? Do you have what it takes? But like I said, what I'm seeing these days is people saying this. People who are sitting right there in front of that host. I don't know what else you were going to call it. That person who believes that, that's their show. The host, they're the host or whatever. But people are, and so they are wanting respect. And I've actually seen this happen. The person is letting them know, saying, I appreciate you, but, and not really saying the words, but no, you're not credentialed. You're not a person who can tell, say what it is and what should be done about it, and on and on. You can't diagnose it. You can't diagnose me or somebody else and then say what they need to do. But the big change is that of people actually letting the host, the show host, whatever kind, know that, I'm not going to treat you with respect for something you are not credentialed for. I'll respect you that you have this show, but not for that. And I saw one today, and I've seen plenty, but saw one today when I could tell that the host, the show host, she was angry. How dare she not get respect for what she claims she is? And she doesn't say, hey, I'm a counselor, but she's elevated herself up to that level when she's not. And what she says, a lot of them, what I've heard them say is, ooh, that's so dangerous. That is so, can cause so much problem. That could harm somebody for life. It could. I could be wrong too. But I'm not credentialed to be their counselor. you know, their therapist or whatever, you know. No. You know, and if you're not their counselor, you shouldn't be counseling them. That's what I'm saying. They're not credentialed. They're just the show host. No, like I said, it doesn't have to be a talk show host. A show host. But what do you think? I mean, I know what I think. And it's been a pet peeve of mine for a long while, years now, to see such a thing. I mean, it goes beyond what I saw on, you know, it's all different social media platforms. This is before that, way before. You know, the first one I saw, and I got to really think about, were there others? Because, man, whoa, left such a negative, but of course it would. For somebody to think that they're outside of what they are and expect the respect that that person would have. I mean, you go to a restaurant and there's a, what is the term people use? You know, it's a chef, not just a cook, but a chef. Went to wherever those, you know, real important chefs go. I am a horrible cook, so hey, I admit it. Yeah, and somebody goes in and says they did not know what they were doing. They should have cooked it this way. What? You know. Now that chef is the chef, and it's cooking. They deserve the respect. You know, and if the person is not at all, you know, they get their food they cook out of a box. You see, it's a difference. But anyway, I saw this today, and I'm like, I am glad somebody showed her that, no, I'm not giving you some kind, you know, they're not giving her some kind of respect that she thinks she deserves when she does not. And she needed to be knocked down a peg or two, or 3, or 15, whatever. And let her, she should realize, you're not that. You shouldn't show that, like, let the world know, oh, I can do this because I'm a show host. I have the show. Therefore, I can tell everybody what they should do in their lives. No. Anyway.